Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager here. I want to talk to one of my colleagues, a big host on AM 560, The Answer, WIND in Chicago, where, of course, I'm on 3 hours each day. And the Dan and Amy show is a very big hit there. And Dan is on the line, and Chicago is in the news. And it's Dan, I got to tell you, this is about as ugly a story in American corruption that I've covered in my life. And I feel bad for Chicagoans who have integrity because your city looks like it's chaotic. Is that a fair read?
With you, and you're exactly right. It is chaotic, and you understand this very well. This is what happens when a city puts the rule of politics over the rule of law, and incredibly, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office does precisely that, which is what's happened here, and it does impugn the integrity of an office with, of course, thousands of dedicated prosecutors who do have integrity, but unfortunately, as it's so often the story in Chicago, the civilian political leadership of these agencies does not have integrity, and that's certainly the case with Kim Foxx, the state's attorney.
Not just Kim Foxx, but also the what is the guy's name? It starts with an M, who apparently made the decision, which she went along with, the assistant district attorney, and the judge. Yeah, Magetz, is that the name? Magetz. Yeah. So, it's not her alone. And what about with this judge? Why is he sealed the decision? The public doesn't have a right to know? Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. It really does all emanate from Kim Foxx and her recusal in the Smollett case because of, frankly, inappropriate conversations with a former chief of staff to Michelle Obama, who was representing or trying to middle a communication between the state's attorney, Kim Foxx, and members of the Smollett family. So she recuses herself. She turns it over to her first assistant, Joseph Magetz. And then, if you're to believe any of this, which I don't, then he makes an independent decision to make this case go away, with Smollett having to forfeit his bond and do a few hours of community service for Operation Push, Jesse Jackson's organization, even though Operation Push didn't even realize, according to them, that the community service he was doing was to satisfy some sort of half-baked plea deal that was cut with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Kim Foxx is trying to protect herself because she's compromised in this case, and you've got her first assistant basically having to do the cleanup work and be the fall guy to say incredible things that just don't square with any rational assessment of the merits of this case. No, I mean, the important thing about what Magetz said, this case didn't fall apart. Magetz said yesterday that the case, there was nothing new here. The case was strong. Police investigators did the appropriate job. He essentially said, look, we could have convicted him on the 16 felonies, but we made a resource allocation decision to let him walk with this slap on the hand, even though we're not technically exonerated.
So is the official reason for letting him go and not prosecuting money? We don't have money for a trial? Is that what resource allocation means?
Yeah, they're essentially saying, look, we prioritize violent offenders, and because Jussie Smollett wasn't a violent offender, that we
Jussie Smollett could have led to race riots. This guy's a thug. He's a national thug.
Because he wasn't a violent offender, this is what they're saying, and we prioritize violent offenders, we chose this alternative disposition of the case. I mean, it is beyond an untenable proposition. And to your point about the case being sealed, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office conceded that the judge had discretion in the case, but the Cook County State's Attorney's Office did not object to sealing the case. So they went along with sealing.
Well, and what's the excuse about sealing the case? So the excuse about not prosecuting is Chicago doesn't have enough money because it's not the prosecutors do not consider it a serious enough offense. Okay, which is it's about as serious as you get before murder. What is the excuse of the judge?
That it's allowed. Well, the judge didn't offer an excuse. We don't know, but the Cook County State's Attorney Magetz, the first assistant who was in charge of the case, said it's allowed under the law And so we didn't challenge it because it's allowed. That's it. There's no dispute. There's just
so I am curious. Look, I'm obviously I'm in Southern California, not Chicago. I am curious. What is your read of the mood? Are people in Chicago angry, or is it big deal? It's just another corrupt day in Chicago and Illinois. I don't obviously I don't know the answer to that. Maybe you don't. But what is the mood as you read it?
The mood, generally speaking, across the board, is one of outrage. That people who have some common sense and believe in some semblance of the rule of law are outraged by this. They know that this is a political decision. They know that.
Wait. What does that mean? Political decision? That please explain that.
Well, the belief is that Kim Foxx was compromised, and the potential was that Smollett's attorneys would call her as a witness in the case if it went to trial, and that was something that she couldn't have come to pass, and the state's attorney's office couldn't have come to pass. Whether that's because she did things that were beyond bad judgment calls and improper, or whether it's in addition to that, she's protecting other people who may have interceded on Smollett's behalf, including the former First Lady of the United States.
How close a friendship is there between Michelle Obama and Jussie Smollett?
Well, it's not exactly clear, but I mean, again, there is a relationship there, and her former chief of staff, an attorney named Tina Shen, is the one who reached out to Kim Foxx, and that's what got this all rolling. The other thing Kim Foxx said, too, this is an important point. When she recused herself, she said, well, I recused myself when Smollett was still considered a victim by police. That may technically be true, but I can tell you, and anybody who has any connections, the Chicago Police Department and detectives will tell you, not one Chicago police detective, from the beginning, from the night this happened, believed Jussie Smollett's story. And so that certainly would include Kim Foxx, who would know, talking to police and talking to investigators, that they had grave suspicions about the veracity of what Smollett had to say from the very start of this episode.
By the way, I wanted to be clear to me and my listeners, that he's not being brought to trial, they did not in any way imply that he's innocent. Is that correct?
Correct. The first assistant state's attorney said he was not exonerated. We believe he filed a false police report. We believe this was a hoax. That's what they said. But we thought this was the expeditious way to dispose of this case.
So his lawyers' announcements. Well, we told you he was innocent. Are fraudulent comments.
Correct. They're fraudulent. False.
God, it's a painful moment in American life. Okay, my friend. You're a big hit, as everybody knows, and it's a joy. I know you've sat in for me, and I'm very honored by that. Dan Proft, co-host of the Dan and Amy Show on AM 560, The Answer. I'll see you maybe cigar night when I come out for the station in May.
We'll have some for you. Thanks so much. We look forward to it.
All right, Dan. Thank you very much.